All right, y'all, got a new one today. 10mm glass on glass female fittings. You guys have probably been wanting to see this for a while. You guys probably have seen my work, seen these fittings and wondered, how is he doing that? How's he doing that? So I made this video to give you all the rundown on how I make my 10mm female glass on glass fittings. A little close up for you guys. This one's made with North Star Peach, which is probably one of my more favorite colors. I would say it's like top 10 favorite colors of all time. Hard to come by, hard color to find. And I think it has to do probably with the cost of the raw material to make this color. Lots of gold in this color, and the cost of gold is like through the roof right now. So it would only make sense that the cost of producing this color is more expensive than they're making on the color. So they're probably not making a ton of it. Maybe their gold supply is low over at North Star, who knows? Either way, I had a couple sticks, so I prepped it up into some tubing, and I usually start by checking my prep work. I start by making a fitting. So here we go. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have a chance and you have something to say, please leave a comment. And I want to start off by saying, this is in no way, shape, or form the only way to make this item. This is how I make it. This is how I find it to be the most consistent way to make it for me and my work. I've been making them like this since 2015, 2016. If you guys are interested in learning how to make a glass on glass fitting, 10mm glass on glass fitting, the way I do it, stay tuned and watch this video, y'all. I don't want to waste any more time, y'all. We're gonna get this one going. Please hang loose, watch the video, leave a comment if you learned something. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We're jumping into this one now.
All right, everyone. Today we are back in the studio and we are prepping a glass on glass fitting. This is a 10mm female glass on glass fitting that we're making. Now I'm working with some North Star Peach that I prepped up, and we're just setting the handle up and pulling off the amount of material that we need for the fitting. A lot of the techniques that are done in the initial setup of the fitting are really just you flowing with the glass and eyeballing the size and shape that you're going for of all the different components. So I gotta break some of this off, and I'll take a little bit more than I actually need just to be safe, but you're gonna want to break a small section of tubing off here. Also, down at my handle side, I'm kind of laying, they would call this a jack line or a marber line. Like most glass studios I've been in, I've heard other artists call that a jack line or a marber line. But that gives us a nice base point to refer back to. You know, it's got a little bit of color fed onto the clear handle, and you know, you're not gonna end up wasting a ton of color down there, and you're also not gonna end up mistakenly pushing your clear handle up into the shaped parts of your fitting. So it just gives you a nice clean shoulder to work off of. So right now I'm looking at this and I can see that my left hand over here, my left hand is going to be the bottom of the fitting, and my right hand side is going to be the actual fitting itself. Alright, so I laid a small little line with my L marver coming down to the fire kiss tool on that line. We're going to neck that down. Little puff, little accordion. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing I think of the fittings, and one of my opinions at least of this, where people make the biggest mistake is what I just showed you. They don't set this material up in a way that is conducive to making a good fitting. It's really important to have that material set up properly. In fact, let's just go ahead, because I know it's not straight. I can feel it's not straight. We're going to want to straighten this up. Alrighty. So, go down here where my little collar is. Put a little heat into it. That heat allows us to get it moving. Alright, so pulling down, I find the high point, I pull down. Everyone uses this tool different, I think, but I was always taught find the high point, pull it down, find the high point, pull it down. And there we go, we're straight, dude. This handle on my left is not straight because it was set up off of nothing. It was actually set up off of the other handle being originally unstraight. So now that it is straight on the actual hollow side, I'm gonna straighten this punty up. Alrighty. So like I said, the bottom of this is going to be over here. This is the bottom of the fitting. This is the actual 10 mil area. Get my tools together real quick. I need a 10 mil octagon. I don't know if it's an octagon, hexagon, octagon, I need a 10 mil one of those, and it's brass, and I like the 10 mil graphite hollow and quartz fitting with soot, with like carbon on it, carbon soot. So we got our tools ready, got the base of this started. Alright, y'all. So I like to pre-shape the bottom just a little bit. Gets my eye to start seeing what it is I'm trying to create. That's super important because it's just a blob of glass at this point. Some of my favorite artists that I've taken classes from, that's what they're really good at. They're really good at seeing a blob on a handle and being able to see what they want it to become. So something I've carried on from classes that it's not really like talked about, I guess. Like the artist isn't like, hey, watch, I'm about to show you how I turn a blob of raw material into this thing. But if you take those classes and you just read the book front to back real quick and you know just want to see one part specifically of this guy's technique or something, you might miss these small little weird things that are unique to you, you know? So something that's always been unique to me is how other artists that I look up to as like ballers, how they are able to turn a random shape into whatever they are imagining. So anyways, so yeah, here's the bubble. It's gonna be the bottom. Here's the fitting, the start of the fitting kind of taking shape. We're about to push the Maria. This is a tricky part for a lot of people. I mean, I still struggle with this. So what I do is I heat up an area, say like a little bit longer than I actually want the fitting to be. Tug it out just a little bit into an hourglass shape. Give it a puff beyond the actual wall weight that it started at, and then I tug it back out to kind of match the exterior wall weight. The internal wall weight is now blown out a little, where the external wall weight is matching up with the rest of the fitting. It's going to create a lot of consistency in the push of this Maria, hopefully. So we're going in. And I tend to come down and give it a little roll. If I can hit the back side second, I do that second. I don't do that first. I hit the top side when it's cooking. Top side when it's cooking, bottom side when it's a little hardened up. And I pull a little bit of the excess material off to start with. I don't just try to like dig in there and get it all. Alright, so we're doing that reel and peel. I mentioned this in my last video. If you guys get a chance, the last video was color prep and honeycomb, like handling up to color prep, and I talked about this reel and peel technique to open holes up. So another one of my favorite tools. I got this guy from DNL Art Glass probably like 5 or 6 years ago, but it's a little mini paddle with, it's got a rubber handle, which is like, doesn't really do much for me, but the size of this on the side matches my fittings. If you could have like a paddle specifically for your fittings, this is the one. At least for me, it's the one. Start by giving out a flattening on top. Now I get my tweezer jacks coated in the wax. And what I just did there was I took the lip of the hole, like the opening, and I pushed it all the way out to the internal wall so that there was no separation in the size of the opening and the size of the inside of the fitting. I basically just spread that opening all the way out to the wall just to confirm that we were locked in. And as you can see, I'm showing off right now how the paddle fits right in that area. All right, tweezer jacks all the way in. I don't know if you guys can appreciate it, but we're starting to get that fitting look down here. I mean, it looks almost done already. Alrighty, little paddle. Right now we're doing just a little condensing inside and outside. We're just trying to get this shape super stable. If these get like there's nothing wrong with thin, but the thinner they get, the easier they are to get wonky when you're trying to really lock the size in. All right, so we're gonna do a heat of the main fitting and we're gonna roll it down so that it's a little steeper to match the male that has to go inside there. I've been making fittings in this style since probably 2014, 2015. It was a technique that I saw a couple other guys in a studio that I was working in doing, and I always liked it. I like the Maria. It gives you the ability to facet. If you wanted to facet a fitting. So right now we have pretty much set it up to just do the final sizing. Might be a little big right now. Oh, it's almost there. Almost there. So it looks like we need to bring the inner side on the bubble side down a little bit. So we just put a little heat in, just enough. It's all about heat control. I feel like that's what makes these the best fittings you'll ever make. Like if you make one and you're like, wow, that's the best fitting I've ever made, take note that you had good heat control when shaping, because that's a big component here of like nailing the shape you want. You can get them really crispy and hard when there's just enough heat in there to do what you want to do. Pretty close. Get in there. Get that tapered. Check it with the... Oh yeah, baby. We're there. Alright, so we're going to give the top a little flattening. A little flattening on the top. Kind of lock in the back edge. and I want to take it just a hair smaller than it needs to be. It's kind of like the final stab at it, if you will. And I hope you will. Alrighty. So now we're gonna make sure we get all of the carbon buildup we can on this fitting. Alright, so we're getting a little glow in the peach. Plug it up. Check it. It feels pretty good. Something to take note of, the fitting that I just stuck inside here, you can see that it's starting to have the carbon buildup wear away. That is showing you obviously where the fitment is the best at. So as you can see, currently the fitment is nice and tight up in the rear and maybe needs to be brought down a little more up front. Do a nice little heat here, just in the middle area of the actual fitting, the middle there. Soft, gentle little roll. I'm pushing pretty hard, but controlled. Heat is controlled. Once the fittings, this is a quartz fitting, by the way. Once these get too heated up, they don't hold the carbon as well. So I have a couple of them so that I can always have a cold one to get fresh carbon on if I need it. The carbon's nice because, so a couple things here. You're using the beeswax to get it to flare open, right? So beeswax, little flare, and then we're checking it with the wax on the brass tool. Little checkup. Now the wax tends to boil a little bit between the tool and the fitting, and I feel like it doesn't, I mean, I know it's not even that I feel it does not give it a full lock that you're going to want later when you put this on a piece. So the carbon on the fitting is about as tight as you can get it, and the carbon acts as a like anti-stick barrier between the joint and the joint. So this really allows you to finish up that final fitment. And I believe that we're right there. Now, what I like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna give it one more little paddle. Let's go ahead and get some fresh carbon on this guy. One more little paddle. I feel like it's just a hair too wide up towards the top. Gentle heat. Very deliberate in the paddling. One more check. See where we're at. I like that. And there you can see the carbon is completely worn off that fitting on that last pass through. All right, so now I like to get the graphite tool hot. This is from the blast shield. This is a graphite 10mm holder. It's open on one side. It's open on both sides, but one side is able to be blown into, so we can finalize the shaping here. And I really like using the graphite, the brass tool, the quartz fitting, and the tweezer jacks. A lot of people think that that might be too much. A lot of you watching this might not even use a brass or a graphite tool. You may just use glass, and that's great. There's no real wrong way to make a fitting. This is just the way I like to do it, and the consistency for me is what I seek in work. Consistency. So this has been a consistent way for me to get a consistent outcome since 2014, 2015. Little puff. Now I also have a paddle here. You know, I don't always do this, but sometimes puff. I'll give it a little paddle on the bottom. And also, you guys might see me doing this. That's locking the fitting on there. A lot of people are confused on how to use these tools. I'll show you right now how to lock it on and how to unlock it. Little paddle, and I think we're done. All right, so this is currently locked on here. Give it a little tap, right? Now if I take a wood handle, I don't know why wood, but wood seems to work, and you give it a couple little taps, it comes right off. Okay, so we're gonna go get a little reheat. I'm gonna go back on, right? 2 little taps. Now we're locked back on, and the reason why it's important to, consistently make sure you're locked on that is because when you start blowing into this to pop your hole for the point of attachment, you don't want to blow the fitting right off the tool. Some of you guys might use graphite tape. Some of you guys might use some sort of lathe tape. Again, some of you guys might just use glass fittings and nothing else. There's nothing wrong with doing this component in the way that makes you feel the most comfortable. Right, so I love this tool. This is from Flug Fry, but it's a graphite rod tapered down, and then it's shoved into this like chuck style handle, and it allows me to get a tiny little hole going off axis and really just make that a nice round shape. All right, so we're still locked in. We have to unlock this now to get it into the kiln, but we're unlocked. You can feel it. It's almost like a little more hollow in the noise that it makes. Hope you guys can appreciate that. Got a nice little 10mm fitting. Thank you guys for watching. Hope someone picked something up from this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.